Hello everyone, PLG here. In today's video we will go over some of the most important software used in modding Diablo 2. This upload also marks the first entry in the series centered around modding Diablo 2. So let's get started. And first on our list is a program called MPQ Editor, which lets us export MPQ archives, that is, the files that store most of Diablo 2's content. And some of those archives are d2char.mpq, which stores files mostly associated with player characters, such as the Barbarian or the Necromancer, d2data.mpq, that has stuff like monsters, levels and NPCs from Act 1 up to Act 4, the main acts of the game. We also have d2exp.mpq, storing files from Diablo 2's expansion, that being, of course, Act 5. And the file which interests us the most, patch_d2.mpq, which contains files specifically adjusted for modding the game. Thanks Blizzard. We will be using MPQ Editor a lot, since it gives us access to the insides of Diablo 2, and the stuff we can find inside gives us a lot of possibilities. For example, in the next video we will extensively use two files exported this way. Those are monstats.txt as well as levels.txt. However, even though they are simple text files, modifying them in the default notepad is out of question, unless you want to do a modding Diablo 2 challenge run. But, for the sake of accessibility of this tutorial, to edit those files we will use a much better suited tool. But, before we get to the next program, you need to know that MPQ Edit uses list files to read the MPQs. You can easily download those from this site on which you downloaded MPQ Edit. Links to all the software from this guide are down in the description. And while you're down there, be sure to bash in the like button as well as subscribing to my channel. Thanks. And that brings us to the next program, AFJ Sheet Edit. AFJ Sheet Edit takes those TXT files and sorts them into elegant sheets, similar to those present in Excel. It makes our life much easier since we don't have to scroll through hundreds of lines just to see what we modify, which we would have to do in normal Notepad. We will be seeing it in action in our next tutorial, as well as quite commonly in the rest of my guides. AFJ was nice enough that he not only made Sheet Edit, but Table Edit as well. But what is Table Edit, you may ask? Well, I'm here to explain. Table Edit allows us to edit the table files in Diablo 2, which contain strings present in the game. So, Table Edit pretty much gives us the ability to edit existing names or add our own to the game. Those range from monster names up to even the titles appearing whenever we enter an area. It also allows us to make translations, which is very useful for me, as when making my mod I edit both the English as well as Polish tables. And now we get to my favorite tool, Doctor Tester. I absolutely love using it since it lets us view the graphics and animations from files provided to it. And it also allows us to preview how the things in our mod will look like, thanks to the option to display local files in it. It will be used a lot once we get to adding new monsters or monster variants. Next in line, we have DS1 Edit. It's the map editor of the bunch and it's really powerful. As of the current plan, it will be used to place new super uniques on the map. Of course, it allows us to do much more. With it, we can change existing locations from the game or even create our own. But first, to share guides on how to use it properly, I will have to learn it much more myself. And at last, but certainly not least, we've got two programs that will be used to add new monsters later on. animdata_edit lets us add new animation files to the game, or more specifically to animdata.d2, that tells the game all the required info about each animation. And we've also got Color Map Maker, that lets us create new pal shifts, which are pretty much a cluster of 6, technically 8, colors for our monsters. It can be used to both add colors for our monsters, as well as change the existing ones. And with that, we are ending today's setup guide. I focused much more on explaining what each program does than on installing them, since the process of getting them on your computer should be rather simple. If one of those programs has an additional step, or if it's a bit more non-conventional in its usage, I will cover it much more in depth in the episode of its debut. So that would be it for today. Thank you all for watching and see you in the next one.